The Irish famine features quite heavily in the book, and there's a lot of lessons to be drawn from it. Given where we are in the global context, what lessons from the Irish famine can our contemporary leadership learn? If there's one lesson that you would like our big men or women leaders of the globe right now to learn from the narrative of the Irish famine as it is in the book, what would that lesson be?
So the Irish famine was a fungus caused by a fungus potato blight infection, and it was made worse, far worse, by a very cruel England who refused to help. And there was this idea that that Ireland was overpopulated, and it was a very anti-Catholic idea because Henry VIII had broken away from the Catholic Church, but Ireland had remained Catholic, and so it was Protestants versus Catholics. And the Irish famine shows really how cruel major imperial power at the time, which was Great Britain, England, could be, even though they had parliament and they had different positions and debates, etc. So for me, what the Irish famine illustrates, it's equivalent to Ethiopia, it's equivalent to Sudan now, to a large degree, Gaza now as well, is that forced movement of people, forced migration of people, food shortages are usually made far worse by ideologies about immigration, about who deserves to live in such a place, and then are made far worse by bad philanthropy. So for a modern leader, there's a lot to talk about in today's context, where what we saw from the Irish famine was half the population either left Ireland or died of starvation over a period of 30, 40 years. And it impacts, that flows through into the politics of the next 50 years.
I like your use of the term bad philanthropy. It's very simple, but it's a reoccurring theme in the book at the end of the day. It's something that we find ourselves dealing with now. And obviously with regard to COVID, COVID features very heavily towards the end of the book. Well, not very heavily, but significantly. And I would say that is in a way bad philanthropy, the same way that we had with the Irish famine. Do you think that's a fair statement?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think what is really disturbing, if you think about it, is if you look at who's in charge of human health services in America today, it's RFK, John F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah.
So this man was a small boy who attended his father's funeral when he was assassinated. John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And that image of that small boy was standing with his mother, Jackie Kennedy. And then fast forward, and he is Trump's guy, in charge of human and health services, and he doesn't have answers to some basic questions, such as, do you believe in the vaccine? And when you have someone in leadership like that, it's not surprising then to say, well, there is much more distrust of medical science than there's been 50 years ago. So yes. I can authentically sit here and say, I believe, Aidan, that we are in a less progressed human position as it pertains to that variable, which is trust in health, trust in medical science,
Yes.
than we were 50 years ago. We've eradicated measles, and we eradicated it. But today, post-COVID, post the COVID nightmare, people trust vaccines less. And this is a direct result of not having a trustworthy institution at the center, which is the World Health Organization.
Yes.
And the reason we don't trust the World Health Organization, or certainly I don't, is because they've never answered the question, where did COVID come from? And this creates in people different stories that you can latch on to.
Yes.
Which are, neither provable nor disprovable. No one seems to be able to get to the bottom of that question. So I really like using COVID as an example of what we are trying to say. We're trying to say that you may believe, as a reader or as a citizen, that we're at the apex of human development with AI upon us, and blockchain and
Yes.
Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and we can travel anywhere, and you may believe that we have progressed, but in many ways we've gone backwards. And that's kind of one of the main points of
Yes.
the spell, is that we're all under a spell.
You and your co-author Robin did amazingly well, I believe, to contextualize COVID for what it actually was, because it has been quite downplayed in literature and in media. It was like this big moment that happened, but then it was like a speed hump. We passed it, it's behind us now. And that's actually not true. Maybe you can elaborate for me actually just how significant COVID was as a moment in time, or as an event in history, to the extent that you would put it alongside such immense historical events in your book, other immense historical events. Why did you rank COVID so highly in its global impact and on its impact on humanity in general, so as to include it in the book?
Yeah, so, I'm going to give you some numbers. We estimate that 60 million people died as a result of World War II, either, at war, or from injuries, or from the atomic weapons that were dropped. Maybe the 60 million is too high, but we're not sure. We estimate that excess deaths from COVID, the official number of COVID deaths is 7.5 million, but excess deaths, if you look at deaths that are in excess of a normal range of deaths for a country, and if you add them all up, you get a number between 15 and 25 million. So COVID, on a pure basis of how many people died, does not rank nearly as high as World War II, a little bit closer to World War I. But in terms of its global impact on how we view human beings, how far it reached around the world, from the smallest islands of the Indian Ocean to the largest countries, to the Inuit, and never has there been an event that has had such a global impact, to the lockdowns, shutdowns, crackdowns, and its impact on how people think about learning, development, its impact on how people view society and socializing, its impact on the generation of children that we have now, who spend more time interacting on devices than they do with each other. Gen Z, we're sitting in my office, which this is a busy day here, and less than, I'd say, 10% of our workforce is here. So something along those lines, and anyone who's a CEO of a bank listening to this will agree with me.
Yes.
Our view of work, what it is to be a leader, what it is to be an employee, how we should work, the values we have, COVID has had a greater impact than anything else.
Yes.
Obviously, I recognize the impact of the Second World War, but in terms of its long run change of how humans perceive themselves, their value system, COVID's done immense damage.
Yes.
Not COVID the virus. Not COVID the virus. There will always be viruses. The idea of power, the idea of medicine, the idea of human progress has immense damage.
Been stunted.
Yeah. And that's why what I find fascinating, people don't talk about it.
Yeah.
No one wants to talk about COVID.
Yeah. It's why I say that it's kind of understated in world events, and you could have just skipped over it. It would have been a lot easier and maybe less controversial for you and Robin to just completely ignore COVID, because there is so much controversy and backlash that comes with discussing it even now. So I'm glad that you did take the time to include it, and that you have ranked it up amongst such heavily impactful events in the history of humanity.
I mean, if I could just tell you one short story, is I flew with some friends to Dubai to go to the racetrack in Dubai, December 2021 or 2021, and got stuck in Dubai without being able to get a return flight because of the Omicron virus, which was called the South African virus.
Yeah.
And I had to fly from Dubai to Qatar to get a flight back to South Africa. And we were interned in Qatar because the air hosts and hostesses that had come back from South Africa on the flight the day before had then been put into hotels for 3 weeks So we were interned without food or water as modern citizens of the globe. 250 of us. I started a small revolution in the airport. It was really something quite astounding and easily forgotten somehow.
There was misinformation around that in any case.
Yeah.
We just discovered it because we have got a good scientist in South Africa, but Omicron was not South African. It was just discovered by South African scientists, and the next thing we got labeled as being this genesis.
Which is part of the problem, is that COVID starts in China. Donald Trump calls it the China virus.
Yes.
Then it becomes not okay to call it the China virus because it's not the China virus. It's a virus.
Yes.
So it's not scientifically accurate to call it the China virus. But it does also beg the question, well, where did it come from? So the WHO does an investigation into Wuhan, and they're not allowed to see the lab. So it creates a lot of questions. Then you look at the history of the WHO, who's in charge of the WHO, how is that person benefiting, and I think at a certain point people lose trust.
Yes.
And then they don't only lose trust in the medical system, they lose trust in vaccines. So there are more people not giving their children vaccines.
Oh, absolutely. That's definitely been an impact of COVID.
And that's going to have long-term impact.
Agreed. And I've seen that, funny enough, develop in a South African narrative where I've seen South Africans specifically saying our parents and grandparents weren't dumb enough to say no to vaccines that they knew worked.
It's very disturbing.
But our children and grandchildren are.
It's frightening.
Yes.
That we may not have herd immunity on some very dangerous diseases that we had previously overcome.
And not only that, but South Africa had its own unique circumstances around the impacts of COVID. For example, we have got an enormous population of people with HIV and tuberculosis, and treatment for that went way down during the COVID period. So the impact's very, very far-reaching. One of the most significant things that any human being has ever done on this planet in terms of sheer cognitive power is Albert Einstein's attempt to unify competing theories, essentially. And in a way, you and Robin have managed to weave a tapestry of competing theories and ideologies and philosophies into a single beautiful golden thread tapestry.
Thank you.
And it's interesting because you also go into Albert Einstein and his attempt to marry all these competing theories of physics and theoretical physics into one universal understanding of how the universe works around us. And maybe you would like to get a little bit into why you decided to get into Albert Einstein's universal theory, or his attempt at a universal theory, and where we are in this moment in time.
Sure. I mean, okay. So, in the book, The Spell, we attempt to give the reader, in a series of chapters about science, enough of the basic information that you would need to understand the point that the science may be wrong.
Yes.
That theoretical physics may be wrong.
Yes.
So, in order to give the reader that impression, we had to explain quite a bit of science. So I don't want to put anyone off the book, but there's quite a lot of science in the book.
Yep.
And one of the most important observations of scientific observations of all time was just done in December, which is an observation by the James Webb telescope, which is sort of the most powerful telescope of all time. So it's the pinnacle of science. And it came up with a measurement to stars that are nearby, and then stars that are further away, and then stars that are further away, using what's called a step ladder method to measure the size of the universe. And then there's another method to measure the size of the universe, which is the radiation effect from
background radiation.
Radiation from the predicted by Einstein from the weak nuclear force. And these two numbers, you would want the one number, which is the stepwise method. So I've got a distance to the nearest star, and then I use that to estimate the distance to the next star, to eventually a galaxy, and eventually using this method to estimate how big the universe is.
Yes.
It's called megaparsecs. So
yes.
A megaparsec is a scientific term for distance. Yeah. But it's very big.
It's like a million light years or something. I'm not sure exactly what it is.
It's a big.
Yeah.
It's a big amount of distance, and you would want the two numbers to be getting closer together as our ability to measure and look at the universe improves. Yes. And our ability to see the universe has improved massively over the last 30 years, because we've gone from the Hubble telescope, which was mind-bending, to now the James Webb telescope. And yes, we don't have men landing on the moon and running around jumping on the moon, but we have something far greater, which are these telescopes. But what's happened is that its measurements of the radiation effect, using radiation decay predictions, versus its measurement of the step ladder approach, have got further and further apart.
Yes.
To the extent that something must be wrong. Either one measurement or another measurement, or the theory behind early radiation and the size of the universe must be wrong.
Yes.
Which suggests that Einstein's general theory of relativity may be wrong.
It alludes to the idea that the Big Bang as a single event might not be correct. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
So let's say that the universe of assumptions that we're making here include that the Big Bang occurred, right? We don't have any practical way of saying that it didn't occur, there are many theoretical physicists that have gone off the end of the pool, and they've talked about parallel universes, and they've talked about multi-dimensional spaces, and they are funded at universities to come up with these crazy theories that are neither provable nor disprovable, and that's kind of a point that we do make. But for me, if I wanted to show people that human beings don't understand themselves, but are very happy to be very ultra confident about how we should run the world and what we should do about humanity, and which is how we behave. We behave like super overconfidently, and we behave in a way that's, crazy. When you look at the congressional hearing with John F. Kennedy Jr., you go, oh my God, this is scary. But there's this assumption that most people have, that we have human progress and that we have a very good understanding of science and the universe and everything.
Yes.
And we don't.
Absolutely.
That's kind of the point.
No, and you got that completely right. I mean, I don't understand a lot about math, science, and physics. This is obviously very difficult stuff. But the way that you wrote it, it was digestible for me.
Correct.
I could understand it, and I think that the readers are really going to enjoy being able to engage with a subject matter that otherwise normally locks them out because of all the wordy terminology and things like that. So I thought you've done incredibly well to bring it back down for the average reader, somebody like me. And not only that, but your timing in the world right now is absolutely smashing, because I think you touching on this, on aspects of theoretical physics and where we are with science, is so relevant because of the 3 interstellar objects that have recently come into view of our telescopes, these amazing telescopes and instruments that we have now. We haven't had interstellar objects before, and in the last couple of years, we've now got 3 of them, which is completely shaken up the scientific
crazy, right?
world. I mean, what are
We've got an interstellar object that's going past Mars quite soon.
Yeah, 3i Atlas.
Yeah, and I heard it on the radio yesterday.
And I know for a fact that you started working on this book before they detected that object or its predecessor. There was one that came in just before 3i Atlas. And I think that it is an amazing opportunity for readers to be able to take your book as it is now and almost read them up to date with where we are right now in this moment with these objects coming through.
I almost feel, Aidan, like when I was writing this with Robin, and I really enjoyed the science stuff.
Absolutely.
And I thought, do you know what? I think I'm going to take a year off and just study physics because.
Well, you've got the maths background to do it. You could actually. You're one of the few people that could actually do it.
Thank you. Yeah.
For somebody like me, I'd be 15 years behind in the maths.
No, I reckon they could create a course for us, people like you and me who've got into business or communications and just teach physics, just like a summer course or a winter course. And I think it could be conveyed. Einstein's general theory of relativity, once you understand what he was actually saying, the maths is almost like, okay, I get the concept. So you don't need to understand hardcore maths to understand what Einstein was saying.
It's amazing that you should say that. I don't want to get off course, but in my opinion, the most underrated thinker in South Africa in terms of operational management is a physicist. And he uses principles of physics in order to administer industrial operations. His name is Dr. Pretorius. Dr. Pistorius, if you ever have an opportunity, and he uses principles of physics to run operational management. Just truly.
Let's get him a copy of the spell.
I'd love to. I'd absolutely love to. He's at Gibbs, so I can, if you'd like, I can very easily drop off a copy for him. He's a fantastic human being. He always starts his lectures out by saying Pistorius, not Pretorius. I'm not related to the runner. Yes, I mean, Einstein spent his final days trying to reconcile these ideas that you engage with in the book. And for a lot of people, these concepts and these narratives, you just can't engage with them. So, yeah, just congratulations to you guys on making something that is not just digestible, but super engaging. You just want to get through more content. I'm waiting for the sequel.
No sequel.
Yeah, the sequel.
It's a big book. I'm not sure that there'll be a sequel.
You'll have to do a spin-off sequel just on the side.
It's funny. Michael Avery asked me at a book launch for Orthogonal Thinking, will there be another one? And I said, no, there won't be another one. So I don't think there'll be another book like The Spell. It's a unique book.
I don't think you could ever make something like this again. This is truly a once-off. There's no... And for me... Somebody's going to try and copy the way that you and Robin have weaved these ideas together. People are going to read...
I hope so. That would be a flattering...
I can tell you right now, there's going to be some authors out there that are going to look at the way that you guys have pulled all these ideas together, and they're going to go, okay, our book structure is a bit flat. I can't explain it. The structure of this book, it has so many beautiful facets and interconnected weaving components, and it makes this just beautiful picture. It's like
you know what it was based on is, if I may explain to the readers. So we started writing 3 years ago, and the actual written form, like written chapters that are well structured, we have more than 260,000 words. So that's kind of an 850 page, that's War and Peace.
Yes.
So we had to choose narrative lines. And then we decided to make it digestible to be about 100 to 110,000 words. To make it digestible, we make each chapter about 1,500 words. So say we didn't include an entire 10,000 word section on Saudi Arabia, but let's say we had Saudi Arabia, we had 6-7 chapters on Saudi Arabia. So we broke it up, and then we had all these pieces like shards of glass. And then the idea was to put them together into a mosaic so that it would be just within the reach of the reader to keep these different ideas in your mind. And then as soon as one ended, given the fact that we believe that a reader could hold 3 to 4 to 5 stories in their heads at a time, different stories.
Yes.
As soon as one ended, we could introduce another one.
Yeah.
And so that's how the mosaic worked. We'd use like 3 or 4 colors, and then as one color went, there'd be a new color came in. And so that was the idea of it.
It's a literature tapestry, and you feel it when you're reading it. We, unfortunately, down to our last minute or two on this interview, and I'd like you'll only have literally a minute, but just to get around to this one last question.
Sure.
I feel that this book is a living force of information, that the book almost lives. It's not a dead narrative book. It's the kind of thing that you don't just read and it is as it is. Each person will build on top of the narrative that you've laid down as a foundation. After this multi-year journey, has the idea of what the spell is changed from when you first started writing the book up until now? Or has the idea always remained the same in your mind? Or has it become a living thing in and of itself and morphed from where you started?
It has morphed. My idea originally was more simplistic. It was that we have hypocrisy in the world, and that we easily enjoy taking on lies, and that we vote badly, as in democracies, and we have cognitive dissonance. That was the original idea. There's been a migration and a mutation of that idea into a far deeper concept, which is that we are always and always have been and always will be, from the moment that we first could speak with language, as human beings, consumed by stories. and that the stories compete with each other and overwhelm each other like amoeba in a petri dish.
Yes.
And that we are the stories. We are history in the making always. We are, by definition, trying to make sense out of chaos. We are overwhelmed by our senses 5. And so we contrive reasons and stories and structures and modalities of thinking, but it's just stories.
For someone who says it's just stories, I think you've just done an amazing job of drawing together these just stories into something truly special. I can tell you right now that this is going to be on my Christmas recommended reading list. I think your book will just be the most amazing gift. I can certainly tell you that I'll be handing out a few of them to friends and loved ones. And I just want to take the time to congratulate Robin, your co-author, and your team as well. You've had a very broad research team. The book is amazingly well fact-checked. I know you're still going through that process now even as we speak, just dotting the last I's and crossing the last T's. But yeah, congratulations to you, and we're all very much looking forward to the next book. I'm Aidan Brown. This is David Buckham from Monocle Solutions, and thank you very much for joining us in the wealthiest square mile in Africa. Bye for now.